So I did get to play this guy a little bit at the summit, but he was very much in the hands of the pros. The pros would not let him go. In fact, Garrett and I probably played more Uther and ETC, and I certainly played a lot of Diablo. Way more than we actually got to try the new heroes, because they were hotly fought over. And of course, the pro players are, they can be a little more aggressive about their opinions, so we just sort of let them have it in many regards. But I'm excited to try this out. In our metagaming on the little mini convention floor, we definitely noted that he feels a lot like Illidan Tracer kind of business, which does lead us maybe deeper into a better shield meta, an even deeper shield meta. I need to go deeper into those Tassadar changes too. It looks like a nerf on the surface. I haven't actually dug into them yet. There's a lot of changes there that we're going to be discussing tomorrow, and I'll be doing that research throughout today. So maybe we'll get a Tassadar game squeezed in, maybe an Uther game to try him out on top of that. But he definitely feels high mobility, good clothes, but like Tracer, unless he's somehow invincible by other people, he can be very exposed. And if you get a good stun off on him, particularly one of your point-and-click stuns, he is going to suffer. So, let's dig in. First of all, trait, Cyber Agility. Activate to jump to the target area. Feels about the same size as Muradin. I love that he's already... Oh my goodness, he's got cleats on. Poor horse. Feels about the same as Muradin. You don't get anything out of it, though, outside of that 10-second cooldown. It is free. He does have mana, which was a surprise to me. It can go over terrain. A lot more generous than something like a Li Ming teleport. But you will feel a little naked on the other side because there's no movement speed bonus. There's no armor bonus when you do this. Will it be an escape? Will it be an engage? Very much based probably on your current situation. He is a ranged attacker too, which for some reason, I don't know why that was such a surprise to me. But maybe because he has two swords? I thought he'd be in melee. Melee it would be one of his heroics, as well as a number of his abilities where he whips out his sword. Also surprising to me is he has a move. Stutter stepping. His body language locks on like Tracer, but unless you actually take the time to attack, you're not going to stop an attack. Now, once you've got your 3 shurikens going, you kind of move with your body, but you're not locked on like Tracer is. It doesn't keep once you start moving. It's a very weird, which kind of leaves you in this odd stutter step that leaves you immobile every couple of seconds. So Tracer does have increased mobility over. It's kind of the Arthas problem. Like, why is there this clunk when it comes to casting Death Coil? Why is there this clunk when he's A-moving? It's very strange. When they could have done the Tracer lock-on, maybe that was too powerful. Maybe they wanted Genji to miss once in a while with his ranged abilities. All those sort of things could be factors. Does the jump dodge auto attacks in the air? I don't know. Let's check. On the move. Let's see. So there's one. Doesn't look like we're dodging anything, but let's go ahead and toggle cooldowns. In fact, that should give us plenty of jumps. Let's see if we can avoid any damage here. No. No, those attacks, just like Muradin when he leaps in the air, sort of flow and follow you. They have that World of Warcraft Seeker, which is always kind of funny. If any of you are familiar with World of Warcraft, there can be these boss fights, which some of them, it's their face, and like every spell is like, and like flying through the air and like comboing together into this big beam that's hitting the guy in the face. And for some other fights, it's randomly the dude's arm. And like all these mind flays and drains and just random spells are flying past the guy's face into his one hand. But yes, these do follow you through the air, and if I leap away with it, it's going to follow me there. So you won't be dodging anything. That is an auto attack, seeker, point and click style. A spell will chase you across the entire map if you have fast enough movement speed. And they don't fizzle out early. Shuriken, or here in America, Shuriken. Throw 3 shurikens in a spread pattern Just like Plague of Toads, really. Just like a really fast, straight Plague of Toads. Mana 15, 3 charges. Ooh, gets a little expensive. Cooldown replenishes all charges at the same time. Huh, so kind of has like a baked-in Zarya quality to it. So the further I'm back, the less likely I am to hit a bunch. The metagame on the summit floor was very much to close the distance as quickly as possible, sort of Nazebo Toad style, just get in their face and then just unload all that you can in one big pile. Now, of course, here, still have that cooldown. So let's see, a 12-second cooldown, yeah. So basically, just close the distance aggressively and then just put everything you can, and then spend the rest of the time running away, normally using your charge ability. Deflect, cooldown 16 seconds, become protected, not unstoppable, but protected. Any damage blocked during this period causes Genji to throw a kunai? Kunai, yes, kunai with chain. A kunai towards the enemy, prioritizing heroes, and dealing damage. Any damage blocked during this period. Favoring heroes. Okay, so this sounds like it'll work on anything. Either way, you're protected, so... yeah. Looks like he shot the wall? For some reason? I guess it would just be... throw a kunai towards the nearest enemy. Yeah, so I was slightly nearest the wall there. So that further kind of enhances the idea that you might just want to get in deep, throw everything at very close range into the enemy, and then while you're in this particular enemy's face and everyone's trying to target you down, you would pop your protect and pump everything into that one target that you're already targeting down. So very bursty. Stealth without stealth. Genji was at the summit, yes. With new Uther and new ETC and a lot of other changes that we didn't notice, like Ariel's changes. We didn't really... we saw the resurrection change on the floor, which is rather interesting with the whole quick cast time but a delay on the res. And a number of the skins were hiding in there too, and we couldn't talk about them until the Hanamoto release, because like the awesome Cherry Blossom Ariel, that kind of says that maybe there's something that goes with that skin. New not a big change to him, just the new ETC with the Rockstar that gives him armor rather than the attack speed in the area around him and his health decrease. But no, there isn't a newer ETC. And in fact, I do believe everything that we found on the floor has been released at this moment. And I'm not lying about that this time. We said that last time because we had to lie about Genji and Hanamura to this point. Now I'm not lying. Everything I know about is out now. And that's very nice, because I was definitely nervous through a number of those conversations. Particularly, I know there's a lot of times I said, oh, when we were playing the new heroes, and I was like, I left an S on, but luckily I didn't get in any trouble. We did it! We did it! We didn't get in any trouble. And I'm pretty proud of that.
My blade never dulls.
Swift Strike. Cooldown 12 seconds. Dash forward. Dealing damage, a decent amount of damage to enemies in a line. Enemy heroes that die within 2 seconds of being hit by Swift Strike cause the cooldown and mana cost to be refunded. Mobility, you can assume. Aggressive mobility, and that's why Cyber Agility doesn't feel like a requirement for Engage, and because it goes over terrain that much better when you go in. So you'd get a kill, and you'd be able to get yourself out. Now let's go ahead and get rid of these cooldowns here. So this is another really cool feature. This timer here is the 2 seconds. So within that 2 seconds, if you got a kill, enemy heroes that die within 2 seconds of being hit, so you gotta hit it, sort of put a mark on them. But you have that wiggle room to get the kill done, and then you've got a Swift Strike ready to go. Now my first question is, can this go through walls? It can. Excellent. So all my abilities go through walls. Can I mess this up by not going far enough? Yeah, I can sort of Anubarak into the wall there and end up on a side that I'm not particularly happy about. But the range on this thing is so darn good, and you have the Swift Strike. 12 seconds, 10 seconds. So there's lots of mobility options on him. Is there any delay on the counterattacks? Asked Benord. By that you mean... they do take a second to fly back. You have to absorb them and then throw the kunai. If that's what you were asking. Here, the damage deflected just shows you how much you deflected. But it deals set damage, so it's not a return shield. You're not going to give the enemy back the kind of damage they dealt to you. If the attack speed is faster, do I throw more?
This is my
Yes. Still on that same delay, but if I'm getting hit by a bunch of little attacks or multiple big attacks, I will still throw one to that nearest target. Let's start exploring the talents. Swift as the wind. How clean does the trait jump have to be to make it over the wall? Can you make it over the wall if you target about halfway? Right, that's what I was trying there, Surreal. And it doesn't look right. You kind of Anubarak into it. You sort of stop short. In fact, if I hit it right on the tree there, it looks like it's decently generous. Here I'm actually hitting it on the wall and nothing's happening.
I know.
So it seems like it has a little bit of protection on it. Yeah. Oh, really? That's fantastic. So there it cast. Oh, that's odd. So if I can hit it right in the middle of terrain where I actually can't land, it looks like they've given some protection. But if I'm just a little bit off, if I click this just a little too short. What the heck? We broke Genji there for a second. I don't think it's going to mess you up too bad, though. It's very generous, and the fact that it has any protection at all. Look at that. I'm not accomplishing anything. I'm spamming this D button, and I'm not even jumping. So that's very generous of them to give that feature in the first place. Swift as the wind. I'll try not to do that for every talent. Hitting an enemy hero with Swift Strike increases Genji's movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Movement speed, 30%. Hit a hero, you're going to get a kill. You're going to want to reset anyway. I'm not entirely up on this one unless movement speed comes into play later. Just first thoughts here, first thoughts. I do not remember these from trying them out in the summit. Agile dismount. Clearly the reason why Genji stands so fantastically atop his horse, even though there's cleats in that poor thing's back. While mounted, the range of cyber agility is increased by 70%, and its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. So if you want to be crazy, and it might not be a bad idea to make the engage with cyber agility, the range on it is really cool. Here's the range. Let's go ahead and find a little classifier art for it. Excellent. It's marked on the target dummy here. While mounted, 70% further. Really cool engage. Plus the flip looks great as you go so far. Now it'd be back to its normal. Let's go ahead and toggle the cooldowns. Reduced by 5 seconds, so I should be able to jump at that increased range and have a shorter one that I can use to get out later. I still think you're going to overextend in most times. I mean, imagine Tracer running ahead and out of range of her Tassadar and things like that. But really cool and great interaction with the mount. Cool to have an ability based on mounting. And one of the first things everyone did at the summit was start theorizing. So now we have characters that interact with the walls like Lucio. We have well, of course, stuns on Diablo, Ario, and things like that before. But now we have a character that interacts with his mount. How far are we out from having a War Master or someone who rides a mount into battle? A knight with a lance kind of thing. Exciting to think about. Pathfinder. There are active mineral nodes in your area, Pathfinder. Jumping over terrain with cyber agility increases Genji's movement speed by 25% for 6 seconds. This is the one that a lot of us ended up on at the summit. I have no real good answer for that. Other than that, it just feels right because of Muradin and the like. Something about getting your jump off and then having increased movement ability just feels good and feels right, and you're probably jumping over a wall to get away anyway in the first place. Plus 6 full seconds of movement speed on that. And it's 25%, which is pretty hardy. But that's 6 seconds lasting you, well, 6 seconds of 10 out of your trait till you have your next one. So it's pretty good. Very basic. You're going to be using it anyway. So I like it. Let's advance. Always going level by level here to make sure I feel the actual damage on these talents as they come out at their actual level. Quest. Shuriken Mastery. Hitting enemy heroes. After hitting 35 heroes, damage is increased by 30. After hitting 75 heroes, Cyber Agility now refunds 2 charges of Shuriken. That's exciting. 2 charges. All right. Let's try it out.
This is my path.
So, I assume that we want to do that sweet melee attack. And I would want to pump everything I can in a very close area, not only for deflect, which I will be popping as I make the engage, but also so I can hit with all 3 of these for maximum damage. Let's go ahead and complete the quest. All 3 charges at the same time. Bonus damage, and now I have 2 on my cyber agility. So I engage, spam it all. Maybe I do a little flippy-do. Looks like my cooldown remained the same. And how much burst damage is that? Not a bad amount here at level 4. Let's see. Let's go ahead and reset the talents.
Choose a talent.
Let's see if I get 3 stacks for hitting 3 times. 0 in the bottom there. Yep. Cool. So I do get 3 stacks. Hitting a immobile target here, so it's a little easier. Strike at the heart. Extra Swift Strike damage at its end. Enemies hit at the end of Swift Strike take an additional damage over 2. Oh, so like poison damage. That's a decent amount given the amount of damage Swift Strike does in the first place.
Choose a talent.
Let's try it out.
Choose a talent.
And let's see where the damage... Oh, did it really add... Blizzard, you're getting too good at this. That's fantastic. So is that the small area that I would do bonus poison damage in? Let's reset our talents and see. Yes! Oh!
Choose a talent.
Well, how fantastic. That's great.
My soul.
Right, let's get lined up here. Okay. Actually, geez, this thing is pretty long. All right. 81. It's spell damage. It always was, though, right? This is spell damage, yeah. Important to know these things nowadays. Spell damage, spell damage.
Very well.
Yeah, initial spell damage, and then a little 81 dot. 81 ain't bad. I don't know when you're actually going to hit that. I mean, that's just a wasted talent for now. This could absolutely be an amazing talent once we all learn and become Genji mains and learn how to hit at that exact range. It's not that hard to do with skill shots. You'll get it eventually. But that's a little advanced for today.
Choose a talent.
Certainly.
Choose a talent.
Dragon Claw. After Genji blocks 486 damage with deflect, activate to release a Dragon Claw, dealing 211 damage to all nearby enemies.
On the move.
This is the one I remember from the floor because we were very much about that melee. Getting in deep. So let's go ahead and get in here. Alright, I got one ready. In an area around me, nearby enemies. Cool, so just a spin.
My blade.
Little spin action. Let's give it another go. Let's say I want to like Zarya this business, so I'm going to charge the wall in, and then I'll leap away, having completed my attack. And then I go hunting for some poor alone guy. Pump all my shurikens in him, and then give it a little spin. So it'd be more bursty. It's a good area, though. So I guess my classifier with that be, for today, when I'm thinking about it, would be, am I going to get all the things I want out of Shuriken in this game? Will I be able to close? Will it be too dangerous because there's an Arthas, and moving into his area will ruin my Genji day? Maybe I'll get stuck in that route after 16 or something like that. I should be done with the quest by then. Is there something like a hammer, or maybe even a Samuro that I can farm quest completion off of? Or are there things in my area? Is there a Valera that might try to gank me? Am I ganking Lost Vikings where I need more burst damage? I'm going to go with Dragon Claw for now, because I think running into melee and killing someone really quick is how I want to do it for now. And we'll go ahead and take that Pathfinder and Dragon Claw. Here at level 7, Newman says, I want to see a funny interaction when Dragon Knight tries to kick a queuing Genji and gets pulled halfway across the map. Oh, yeah, I mean, if the...
I know my purpose.
I mean, if a Pyroblast is chasing you, right? and you're like, oh, crud, Pyroblast! You can actually cover some pretty decent ground. Plus that 25% movement speed, you could make it back to the well, perhaps, since both those abilities go through terrain.
The soul in the shadows.
Oh, we broke it again. That was an interesting one. Augmented Guard. When Deflect ends, Genji gains a shield equal to 50% of the damage blocked for 4 seconds. Cool quick match talent. I think investing in Genji's survivability, kind of like Illidan, is just a bad idea. Or old Illidan, I should say. Now he doesn't have the full survivability first aid build that you could just kind of pile up. But it always feels like you make up for that. You're taking a high mobility, high damage character that's going to be sticky in the first place. So don't increase their survivability, make other people make them survivable, and if there's a damage ability in here, let's take that. But actually, looking at this, Cyber Shield, Perfect Defense, and Dodge, this is a required survivability level, which I'm not a fan of on these Super Assassins. Super Assassin being someone who needs everybody else, they can't really merc. It's a term that I just use, not an actual formal one, but... Or no, it's formal around here, that's what I should say. But, yeah, like the Wisps on Lunara level 4, maybe the reason I don't play Lunara. With her with that new hat option with the Warden skin, I think I might pick up Lunara. I've been thinking about her a lot recently. A shield. Gains a shield, no classifiers to it. That's kind of neat. Huh. Well, that's pretty good. So I deflected 3,750 damage, and I get a shield for 50% of that? Seems good. 12-second cooldown, though. So will one of these other towns just be better based on cooldown and number of times I'll be able to execute it per game? In which case, when you think about this, Mastery might be favorable just because here it has a number of what-ifs on it. But I'm just thinking about Burst at the moment. And surviving the burst long enough.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Perfect Defense.
Choose a talent.
Deflecting damage reduces the cooldown of Deflect by 2 seconds up to a maximum of 10 seconds. Deflect... Oh. Oh, well that sounds pretty good with my sweet little Dragon Claw here. Deflecting damage reduces damage. So it sounds like the instances of damage that I take. Yeah, so each one of those shots gave me a 2 seconds off. So if I go in here and take double shots... Oh. Should be going down. Yeah. Well, that would certainly open up more Dragon Claws. I like that stack. Cyber Agility grants 50 spell armor for 2 seconds. Well, there's your Kael'thas dodge. Wow. For the Pyroblast that chases you, just make sure you got your 2 seconds of 50 spell armor at level 7. Wow. That's quite a bit. Dodge. Genji dodges 1 heroic basic attack every 5 seconds. Stores up to 3 charges. There's your anti-hammer in many ways. Huh. Well, let me think about this for a moment. So, 2 towers, and I get 2 seconds off. This duration is 1.25. So I absorb 4, taking me down by 8. And these aren't wicked fast attack speeds. I mean, you can imagine Perfect Defense. It has a maximum of 10, so I'm still stuck on a 6-second cooldown. But if Li Ming uses a laser on me, first of all, Deflect is going to do quite a bit of damage to her face. And secondly, I will 100%, because of all the mini hits or something like a Tracer, I will get my full 10 seconds off, and I'll have my sweet Dragon Claw for when it's over. It's a great looking spin, too. Go Ninja Go. But, I mean, that right there, that's just Hammer Town. I'm not a big fan of blocks. I don't like them. I think they're random. I see the argument for taking Rhyme on someone like Arthas just for more survivability. Even if you're against a Tracer, some people say, oh, you just take it. Like, absorbing reducing any incoming damage is good. But I think it's way too random. I'm not a fan of blocks. and I want to know the exact amount that I will be getting damaged when I make an engage without random classifiers. And I think of random as, let's say you're Arthas diving on Lily Hammer. Hammer gets out an auto attack, that's reduced. Awesome. But then Lily auto attacks you and that's reduced, and then the next auto attack at a Hammer comes out and that's not reduced? What was my perspective there? How did I know how much I was going to survive? Can he jump over terrain in the mines? Asked Sebenisu. I don't know. You can teleport, and you can Muradin leap, can't you? So I don't see why, just because it's a cavern and those are supposed to, and sort of a lore and reality base connect with the ceiling, I don't see why you couldn't. But we'll have to test that out. Oh, congratulations on Masters, Twammy. Wow, Masters. All right, man, share it up. What was your 3 main heroes? What'd you notice along the climb? Any tips you can give to us as we make the climb as well? Anything you noticed change? Or where'd you get played? You probably placed Diamond 3. So what did you change along the way, if anything? Or did you notice something special about this? Just paragraph us, man. I want to know this stuff. I did. We actually didn't do the dances when I first fired up here. But I did notice that it is go ninja, go. Which, you know, now that you think about it, doesn't actually have that unique of a dance, does it? I mean, all he's really doing is just... it does match perfectly, though. It's rather fantastic in that way. I didn't actually see what his taunt was either.
My skill
Yeah.
speaks for itself.
Yep. Ninja man. He just does some ninja things. Says some ninja things. You got place plat too? Damn, dude. So you've been putting in the hard work. Just like me. Kyle plays heroes based on how cool their hats are? Yeah. There's a lot of classifiers for heroes I pick out. I mean, Nazeebo is goofy. Tychus is goofy too. So it doesn't stop me. I would be a little upset. I think she's going to be an awesome hero when she releases. I think Diva would be a really fun MOBA hero with the breaking and the damage and getting your suit back, diving back into your suit. She really is my most played Overwatch character, which isn't saying much. I don't play a ton of Overwatch. I know she's also kind of known as the noob hero in some way, so, but I like the pushing, I like the boosting, I like the flying. I would be disappointed if it's not Kel'Thuzad, you know? Like, the more I dream, the more I think about the cinematic having an old favorite in it. Really, just, I want, like, that's my favorite thing about the StarCraft cinematics, is you get to see the units doing unit things. You know, siege tanks versus Ultralisk, or a band of zealots against an incoming Zerg wave. I want to see something upgrade. I don't want to see boosting around Diva in high graphics. I know what that looks like. I see it all the time in Overwatch. I want high graphics Kel'Thuzad. I want high graphics Magtheridon or something like that, you know? If you're going to do a cinematic, I don't care if she comes out. I won't be disappointed she's in the game. I'll just be disappointed that the cinematic time was used on a hero that we've already seen in high graphics. How's it going, Al? Welcome to the stream. Let's go to 10. Did we do everything here? We didn't test everything, but we don't have heroes to auto-attack us, and I don't have spells to dodge, but I know what these feel like in the end. Let's go to 10.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
So right now, kind of doing this bursty thing. I'm really think Perfect Defense is cute, but I think Augmented Guard will ultimately be better, and many of these will be better in particular situations. I'll go with Perfect Defense for now because it's the high damage I want to do. I think it'll be too squishy to actually pull it off. Dragon Blade, 50 mana, cooldown 80 seconds. Unleash the Dragon Blade for 8 seconds. While active, Dragon Blade can be reactivated to lunge forward and slash in a huge arc, dealing damage. If enemy heroes are killed within 2 seconds of being hit by Dragon Blade, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset. Fancy. Empowered by other heroes around you. Basically unpicked at the summit. X-Strike is amazing. X-Strike does what Genji needs the same way that 7-sided strike for Monk does what a melee hero like Monk needs. Gets him out of trouble for a standard amount of time, a good amount of time, and does huge amount of damage while he avoids CC, jumps out of a route, you know, sort of mini unstoppable as long as you are not locked down too heavily. So Dragon Blade, really cool. I think in the future, as people learn the distance of Swift Strike being one of the big ones, and able to execute that reliably, but also have enough support, have the right comp, maybe Divine Shield with Uther, to make sure that they can actually get the damage out with Dragon Blade, because otherwise, you're just going to go, hey, it's me, everybody, basically. It's a lot like if let's say Li Ming could take Archon at 10. If the second Li Ming went into Archon, and you know she doesn't have Teleport active anymore, you just dive her and freak her out, and she'd lose. So Dragon Blade is very much the same thing. You're going to become really loud. The problem with being this loud is everyone is just going to try to kill you. Ankle says, can Dragon be used as wave clear? On an 80-second cooldown, I wouldn't recommend it, but you're right that it would enhance his lane clear, and that could be like a Tomb of the Spider Queen. So you're thinking to yourself, we want like an Illidan, or I want a Tracer on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but what if we start to lose? How will those characters make a comeback? What if you took Genji and then took Dragon Blade to make up for your lack of lane clear, and when it comes time to clear out a lane, you just hit the Dragon Blade for a little bit? Sure, it was an 80-second cooldown, but you don't need it that often. You're just going to clear things out. Let's actually turn on the minions here and give that a shot and see what that damage looks like. So let's imagine this is a giant Tomb of the Spider Queen wave coming at me. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's good lane clear. Oh, you're talking about Dragon Claw. Oh, how could I have confused Dragon Blade and Dragon Claw? Please excuse me. Let's get another pile of minions out here, and I'll go ahead and take some damage and get a Dragon Claw built up.
Show me what you can do.
Oh, that was the minions. Alright. So here we are, level 10. It's dealing 667. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, clearly Dragon Blade was better. I really like this idea now. You just build a full comp, a full Genji build around every 80 seconds. I can kill an entire lane really, really quick. But you can see how exposed you are during this. It's really loud. You do a kind of lunge with it too, so it's just going to make things weird for a little bit. It's like it also replaces your Q, so you don't even have a chance to do the range burst that you were doing the entire game earlier. While active, reactivate to lunge forward in the slashing arc. That's really weird that it takes away your Q. Also, it takes away my auto attack. I have no auto attack at all. So what's the damage on this thing? 355. Let's let the damage reset here on the target dummy and do this one more time for maximum. Okay, 2,843. Is that more damage than if I just jump in with a Swift Strike? I guess I wouldn't count the Swift Strike because I just jumped in. If I'm doing auto attacks plus all my shurikens to the face. Guess I should set a timer for that. Oh, I'm still on cooldown. Let's see. So this lasts 8 seconds. All right, so we got 8 seconds to hit 2,800 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, wow, actually, you're pretty darn close. This would be burst damage, it'd be spell damage. These are auto attacks and spell damage mixed together. I'm still not a big fan. Right. Dragon Blade did do better, but Dragon Claw can be used more. Correct. However, if I'm in a situation like this where it's pushed out and I'm just trying to get to the lane and start clearing as fast as possible, I don't think off of a lane I'll be able to get a Dragon Blade. No, not at all. So I need either a tower. Yeah. It's kind of like Zarya shields. Using a Zarya shield on lane minions to try to get a shield is a really bad idea. Let's get a fresh Genji before we start the next part.
Your deeds shall be remembered.
What other heroes from Overwatch / World of Warcraft do you think they could put into this game? All of them, right? Any of them. But I think the Overwatch characters are... I mean, Overwatch is basically a first-person MOBA when you get right down to it. So I think their kits are already pretty much ready to go. Use it as AoE. Yeah, right. So if the whole enemy team's in a mosh and you pop this thing, hell yeah, you're going to own. But wouldn't a Q Flame Strike do that? Why would you waste a heroic to kill things that should die anyway? And we didn't do that much damage anyway, but I see what you're saying, right? It's not about the damage per second. What I did for 8 seconds onto the target dummy doesn't count because I'm not hitting multiple targets, and clearly Dragon Blade would do more. I absolutely agree with you there. The problem is...
Choose a talent.
The problem is when you start looking at X Strike, you're doing area effect damage as well, and then you have the avoidance factor. Perform 2 slashes, dealing 200 damage. Slashes detonate after 1.25 seconds, causing an additional 400 damage to enemies in their area. That's a lot of damage. Let's go ahead, and I'm curious to know what the X does. And is the X... based off my body and my angle. See if I turn this way. Okay. Turn this way.
My soul.
Wait, what?
Seeks balance.
Oh, let's make him spin. That'll make it easier. Using the shift command for this. Okay. Yes, the X is based on his current, and it looks like it is split off on his diagonals. So if I'm on a diagonal here... Well, that didn't hit anywhere near. Wow, you get the 400 damage no matter where the X explodes. 200, 200. Yeah, so I get the 400 even if they're not in the center. So there's no bonus if they're in the center, just if they're on the X in the first place. So I guess avoidable in that way. Oh, it has a range. Oh my god, it has a range too. So take everything I just said about this being what seems to be the better ult, and then add to it that you can Metamorphosis jump with it. You can actually get some... I mean, let's say I am dodging that Kael'thas and I'm running across the entire map, and it's still going to hit, and I just jump in the air and I avoid a Tracer Bomb that's stuck to me. I avoid a Living Bomb. I mean, let's go ahead and test this out on a building here, but... the building should just not be able to attack me during this, because I'm in space. Yeah, building unable to attack me. It's hard not to just instantly say, this is the one. If the Dragon Blade doesn't kill on the first strike, does it reset as fast when the cooldown's off? If the Dragon Blade...
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
If the Dragon Blade doesn't kill on the first strike, does it still reset after or as fast when the cooldown was off? So the Dragon Blade reset is actually on the charge here, the Swift Strike. Dragon Blade can be reactivated to lunge forward, dealing damage. If an enemy hero is killed within 2 seconds of being hit by Dragon Blade, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset. So it has nothing to do, sadly. So yeah. I'll get sweet resets and I'll be able to dash around, but I'm not increasing the duration of Dragon Blade. Nor am I mean, right now I have cooldowns down, but killing people would not increase the duration of this or make it come off cooldown faster. At least not at this level.
I know my purpose.
And you guys are right to be concerned about the X, and I know I'm kind of making a hard sell here. It's certainly off of experience from those games that I played against pro players while at the summit. The Dragon Blade was a cute move. It worked really well with New Uther, but this is on a duration of 8 seconds, and every stun you know, an Uther stun takes a whole eighth of this timed ability away. Whereas extra, and I'm still open to it. Absolutely. You know, I'm just saying, and I agree with you. Is seven-sided strike easy to dodge? Yes. But it comes at a surprising moment. And if you use it on Towers of Doom, where you know... That's interesting. So he occupies body. There we go. Yeah, so you can do right on the guy. So if you're on Towers of Doom where you know someone's going to want to stand still in the first place, let's imagine that's Chromie turning in on Towers of Doom. So that would mean to be a pro Genji. If this is Towers of Doom, let's imagine. All right, so you got that bush here, and this is that curve of the top tower thing. So this is that, and then there's this thing here, and you know, down here is the enemy wall, and there's little towers, and here is that bush and that little wall, and then the bush, and the boss is right in there. And so I'm watching, and here's a sad little Chromie looking to get ganked. If I come from this angle, I'm in that bush at this range, I could probably surprise her quite a bit and get a lot of damage out. But the interesting thing now thinking about that would be, should I come on a different angle? If I'm on that Towers of Doom here, my X is wrong. Chromie will want to run away in a straight line back towards her bush. So I guess I would have to come from this angle? Yeah, to make the X go in a straight line back. So she would have to run, you know, one of these styles. And by doing this, I've decreased her movement speed. If she can run back in a straight line, just like NASCAR, this would be the fastest way to run away. So pro Genjis might need to figure out their angling on their cast. Plus, you got to be on the same angle when you cast it. So if I dash in and my guy adjusts for an auto attack, he's changed the angle on my X. But again, really about just dodging the stuff. Or if an Arthas hits you with a root. Now, actually, in their area, I want to be hit by a root here. Can I make Computer Arthas hit me with a root? Does anyone else have a more reliable root on their kit? Let's try that out real fast. Oh, the boss has a root. Yes. Let's stand in a boss. Okay, hook me up. Yeah, right out of a root. Check that out. Also, now Chromie's gone. But yeah, right out of the root. That's powerful. That's powerful on a guy like this. Can you use it? Alt X strike mid cyber jump. Oh, yes. Is this called X strike? It is. Okay. Oh, it's got little dragon faces and little scales on it. So I do have to complete my swift strike before it goes off. Let's see if I can jump. No. So I do need to complete my previous move. Sweet. I will look at that later, Twammy. Thank you for supplying a document. Awesome, dude. I will definitely look into that. I'm always curious to hear how people got it done in efficient amounts of time. And I know you're not an insane man, and you don't grind it out 24/7. So I'm always excited to see how sane people make their climbs. All right, let's advance. Unless there's more questions about ultimates, absolutely, send them my way. But let's advance.
Choose a talent.
So I have Pathfinder, maybe Dragon Claws, maybe Perfect Defense, maybe. X Strike for me. Shingan. Hitting an enemy with all 3 deals damage, bonus damage. Yeah, that's what I want. I like that. I'm dead serious. That actually wasn't sarcastic. It is actually what I want. Flow like water. Each enemy hero hit with Swift Strike reduces its cooldown by 3 seconds. Oh, no maximum. 12 seconds, hit 4 heroes, get a free one. If you kill a hero, though, you get a cooldown reduction anyway. Double jump. Cyber jump stores 2 charges, but its cooldown is increased by 5 seconds. 5 seconds, you say? So I could have a normal cooldown if I combo this with agile dismount.
On the move.
Let's turn off cooldowns. I mean, you can cover, just like Tracer, you can cover a lot of ground, but be very stuck in a place when it's all over.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
I mean, this sounds good to me. Let's check the damage here. Did I do anything that would mess with my numbers? Nope. Okay. We'll go ahead and let that fade. So, 108 to go, which would be, well, that times 3. So 108 times 3, and be 24, 324, I think. Streamer math. Cool. I mean, kind of like Li Ming, that gives me nearly an additional 200 damage when I hit one of those. And the bigger their body is, not like maybe you would want to pump your burst into Diablo, but that seems good. That seems good. It's the most aggressive talent on this tier, but people will make good use of Flow Like Water in the future, and who knows what'll happen with double jump. Can't you click where you want X Strike, not on yourself? Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I was doing here when I was doing that fancy jump and then going backwards. So it has a cast range, and while this is showing the X on it based on my body, I can cast it anywhere in this circle. So I can use it like a Illidan Metamorphosis if I really wanted to. If for some reason, you know, let's imagine for a moment that for some reason I need to cover...
Choose a talent.
Actually, I can even cover more ground with Agile Dismount.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
X Strike, and then double jump. So if I'm mounted, I can cover like half the map in a little combo there. And that's pretty good. How can you tell where in the air where it'll strike the length of the X is? Right now I'm just taking a guess. So I'm thinking to myself, toggle cooldowns here. I'm thinking they're always on my diagonals. So just like your body, this would be my diagonals, the diagonals in the back. So if I cast it like this, I'll get an X facing this way. So ideally, my diagonals would be slightly sideways, so I'm on these cardinal directions because people like to run in straight lines. And that'll give me a bit better of an X. But it's also based on my mouse position. So if Genji's here, and he goes here, I will get a cardinal direction X, or closer to one anyway. If he's facing this way, and I cast it this way, it'll be X like an X, rather than cardinal directions, because that's where his body is based on where he was standing before he teleported. It's gonna take some optimization for sure. Right, so if I wanted to be a pro Genji, what I'd most likely do is go to hotkeys, dig up quick cast settings for Genji, and take Dragon Blade and put it on release. Oh, I guess I didn't hit save? Oh no, that was Dragon Blade. X Strike. On release, accept. Yeah, there we go. That certainly. Yeah, that's the right way to do it. Granted, I'll know where I want the X to be, but I can kind of help reach that cardinal direction I've been talking about. So that's going to be really helpful. Much better. Let's continue. That's a good question, and we'll certainly see what sort of Genji comps we can make later. But I agree with you. Off of just looking at him from this area, and from what I know at the summit, Uther was really powerful with him, even solo Uther. You're going to need a bruiser anyway, but he's going to be in melee too, so you may not want to do a double tank kind of comp, because you want room for Genji to weave in and out. Your main auto attacker supports are often low range anyway, like Rhaegar or Uther too. So by combining the bruiser and support role with Uther, I think you leave a lot of wiggle room for Genji to insert himself into that comp. I'm also really excited about Uther though, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm sure there's much better supports for him. But you will have to worry about Clog a little bit. And I think you're right. Chase potential, double wizard cleanup. So you're doing a lot of burst damage, but you need that tracer kind of guy to go in there. And I think his stickiness won't be as high as Tracer, so I'll doubt he'll be able to get the numbers that Tracer achieves with like a triple support comp being, Lily, Tassadar, Zarya in a sense. But I still think that's where he's going to fill in. New Uther is very different, not so much as spells, the spells he executes on. It is the armor he provides, and his main Q heals him while he heals the other person. And if he heals somebody, he spreads armor around. And that sort of burst healing while negating damage that comes in afterwards is really powerful and a really cool way to augment Uther, keeping him long cooldown. Very interesting decisions to make while you play him, and who you're going to heal, who your carry is in that regard. That's why I've always liked him more than something like Morales, where you're just constantly healing everybody. He's very decisive. So not different, but I feel like he has a stronger role. Eastout says, Dragon Blade just better? Isn't Dragon Blade just better? Not off of the information I've gleaned at. If you're just joining us, then you missed a long spiel. But if you are saying Dragon Blade you believe is still better, given our previous discussion, I am interested to hear why you think that. And the splash damage, absolutely. I'm thinking about surviving. A character like this, like Tracer, like Illidan, wants to kill one guy, get himself a 5v4, snowball going, get everyone scared and running, and then you win. The same reason why I want my Chromie to go Temporal Loop. The Sand is good. It gives area control. It's probably the more solid option. By taking Chromie in the first place, you're saying to me that I am going to take our team into what is about 4v5s every fight, just like Nova. So I want you to very quickly make me a 4v4 for this team. But too, my mind is very based on Hero League and what my players in Team League are able to execute on. And they are lower league players. So I'm always thinking about what's easiest and what gives the most bang for your buck and what is telegraphed well, what makes people feel like they're winning more. When we're talking stun chains and ETCs and Kael'thas getting a triple gravity lapse that's totally clutch, Dragon Blade superior DPS could easily win out in the pro scene. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's an easy counter to make against anything I say is, well, in the pro scene, and I'm going to say, well, I don't particularly care what they do, because remember, in the pro scene, their targeting is so strong that shield meta is better for them because that one guy just needs to survive, and then all the cooldowns on the enemy side are gone. Whereas in our own home and Hero League games, shield meta just isn't as powerful because you don't know if your carry's good enough, you don't know if you're going to target well enough, you don't know if your CCs will chain together correctly because we're all on different wavelengths. I've mighty gusted mosh pits out of Oblivion, that sort of stuff. Where were we? 13? Did we make a choice? Yes. There was the Sweet Li Ming talent. Advance.
Choose a talent. Choose a
Pathfinder,
talent.
Dragonclaw,
Choose a talent.
perfect defense for
Choose
now.
a talent.
X for
Choose
now.
a talent.
Shingan,
Choose a talent.
Reflect. Deflect also deals an additional 33% of the damage blocked. Interesting. Final Cut. After 1 second, Swift Strike deals additional damage to all enemies in the area. Does that give a little picture as well? I mean, did they just picture the heck out of the thing? No. Oh. Like my ghost. Yeah. Oh. In the area. So not in an area around me, just in the area of the line. So it does a second version of the line. Pretty decent damage on that. close to half of the original damage. Could be an interesting way to augment your damage. If we're talking about dodgeable things, that certainly feels dodgeable. But the damage isn't so high that people would learn to dodge it. And even now, lots of us stand in the second Flame Strike. Even the most advanced pro stands in the second Flame Strike because it comes in late into the game. So it could be a way to sneak a little bit more damage in. Steady Blade. Each enemy hero hit by Swift Strike increases the damage of the next Swift Strike by 20%. This bonus stacks up to 3 times. Wow, so there's certainly a hit as many people as possible Dragon or Swift Strike build. So with that we do Flow Like Water. Reduces its cooldown. Since you're augmenting Swift Strike, that would be the Dragon Blade build to get as many Swift Strikes out as possible, since that gives you heroes killed and resets. Maybe going with a reset here would be overkill, but then again, once you have Dragon Blade enabled, you can Swift Strike a single hero and get a reset off the kill rather than hitting a whole bunch. Seems complicated. Yeah. Lots of what-ifs there. I think I'd just go Reflect. But I see the implications. That's really going to come... this would nothing that I would invest in day one. I'm not going to hit a lot of Swift Strikes. I'd rather use Cyber Agility to make an engage so I can go exactly where I want to for today and use Swift Strike as my escape and switch those out later on as my mechanics get better on Genji. But let's see. Let's see. So if I'm doing Swift Strikes on resets, I wouldn't be jumping much. Oh, I'd get movement speed. I'd get movement speed, and then I'd do a little bit of bonus damage. And this is my survivability whatever level, so that doesn't matter much.
Choose a talent.
Dragon Blade, Flow Like Water, and Final Cut.
My blade never dulls.
Okay, yeah. Gosh, that's a lot of talents into one thing. What's this going on? Oh, that's my block. So chaotic. That's not happening today, but it is an interesting build.
Choose a talent.
Let's go to level 20.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Pathfinder.
Choose a talent.
Dragonclaw.
Choose a talent.
Perfect.
Choose a talent.
X.
Choose a talent.
And
Choose a
for now,
talent.
Reflect.
Choose a
Oh.
talent.
Okay, I was worried I broke her for a second. The dragon becomes me! Each time Dragon Blade hits an enemy hero, the duration of Dragon Blade is increased by 1 second. What's the cooldown between swings? Arcs. No way to tell.
Choose a talent.
From
Choose a
here,
talent.
Dragon Blade,
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
and Dragon becomes me.
This is
All right. Oh, so a full second. So I could, in theory, go infinite here. Sort of. I mean, eventually it would degrade just because the misses and other sort of things that would come in. But each time Dragon Blade hits an enemy hero. Enemy heroes? Let's get the Lost Vikings. And once Arthas is ready to leave... Oh, that's an Allied Arthas. Get out of here. If we get 3 seconds per hero, this is your mosh pit. Would you really invest in a level 20 Genji, though? Let's see. Yeah, well.
Double kill. Triple kill.
I'll certainly give you... Gosh, she's got no health. Just getting creamed by Vikings there. But yeah,
Choose a talent.
certainly
Choose a
an
talent.
interesting level 20.
Choose a talent. Choose a
Living
talent.
Weapon. Each enemy hero hit by X strike reduces its cooldown by 12 seconds. Probably a little less reliable in many cases. 12 seconds. So a maximum of, that would be 5 heroes. So 60 seconds. So you could get a 20-second cooldown on this. That doesn't seem too good. Shuriken now pierces all enemies hit. Well,
This is my
Udalale. That seems like a sizable damage increase. I like that. Simple. I like it. I guess if I'm planning to go that, I might want to go Mastery in that case and skip my Dragon Claw. Zanshin. Block 6,500 damage with Deflect, including damage block so far. Well, that will be darn easy. Deflects hit all nearby enemies. Oh, okay. Oh my. Huh. Well, it doesn't reduce the cooldown at all. All nearby enemy heroes, though. Ah. Huh. Weird.
Choose a talent. Choose
That
a
would
talent.
take some math to figure out. With that in play, only heroes deflecting, I still don't think that empowers Dragonclaw further. The problem is that Sharpened Stars definitely empowers
Choose a
Mastery,
talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
which puts me
Choose a talent.
a
Choose
little
a talent.
closer to something like this. Now, what was that last guy? Deflect also deals an additional 33% of the damage blocked. And then it deflects to all nearby heroes. Is that a combo stack? Is that too powerful?
This is my path.
Seems good. Seems like you do a lot of damage. I mean, granted, we've got cooldowns on, so it, you know, once we get into battle and we actually feel what that sort of expenditure feels like, do I use it enough? Is this too long of a cooldown for 3 stacks with piercing? Would I be better with 2 talents put into deflect so far, going with Zanshin? I have no idea. I do know, though, that it is really easy to complete that quest, and there's no reason why. So we'll just have to wait and see on that particular one. Welcome, Dreadwolf. All right, and explored Genji.